Okay, cool. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Right. Okay. So to those of you who haven't joined my rooms before, there's a couple of differences. One thing you may have to get used to is I don't normally look at the camera because I've got 3 screens, so I'm often looking in different places. So forgive me if I look like I'm being a little bit rude. And another thing is I normally do, it's normally a Q&A format because I like to use the opportunity to let people ask questions to get clarity on any technical things that they might have issues about. But today is going to be a bit more of a presentation format because the time is a bit limited today. Ayo, I don't know if you all know him, Dr. Ayo is doing a presentation at 9 about having good sleeping habits. He's a doctor, so he likes to talk about, you know, it's one thing to maybe want to be wealthy, but if we don't have our health, then, you know, we're not going to reap the benefits of that. So I'm quite keen to attend that today at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to try and streamline it a bit today. And also, I don't want to overlap too much with what I did last week. So if anyone wanted to go over certain things, you'll probably find that is covered in the video that I did last week that I've uploaded to YouTube. So last week was focusing more on how to set yourself up to buy NFTs in general, and specifically the Lil Hippo ones, which is why I was playing that song earlier. It's turned into the anthem of all of us that have little hippos. So that's why I was playing that. Today, I want to focus more on security. And the reason for that is, give me a free if you don't know much about Lil Hippo. I just want to get a sense of how new people are to this particular NFT. So if there's any frees, I'll give you a bit of an overview. Okay, cool. So what's happened is a guy that runs a marketing agency called The Rundown. He's been running a Clubhouse group for I think about a year, and you know they just have general crypto discussions. Those of you who aren't aware of Clubhouse, it's basically just like an audio app that you use in your mobile. And it's a really useful source of information about cryptos in general. And a short while ago, the guy that runs that chat group decided to set up his own NFT, but he decided to do it in a way that's different from, I think he's the first person to ever use this format. And what he's done is, because normally when there's an NFT, there's hype behind it, and then it's all released on OpenSea in one single hit. And you have to be fortunate enough to hear about it, have the funds at that right time. And if you've got deep enough pockets, you can basically hoover up what you could say is more than your fair share of NFTs. But what this guy felt that he wanted to do it in a way that gives more of us ordinary people more of a chance. So the way that he's done it is, rather than releasing it to OpenSea straight away, and for those of you who don't have any exposure to NFTs yet, OpenSea is what you might call the eBay of NFTs. So generally speaking, if you're selling NFTs and they're Ethereum based, more likely than not, they're going to be advertised on OpenSea. So, but what he's doing is he's giving people an opportunity to buy directly from him at a fixed price, although the price has been going up gradually, at a fixed price, and he has spread this over a number of weeks. So this started about 3 weeks ago. So first it was like every 4 or 5 days, and then it turned into a weekly thing, and he releases a certain amount in a certain amount of time. He would set like a 1 or 2 hour window, and he's been given everyone an opportunity to buy them, but he doesn't, once you give your Ethereum wallet, no one is allowed to buy loads in one hit. So that way, no one is able to take more than their fair share. And it also gives people a chance to save up. Maybe, for example, you don't have a budget to buy the number you want this week, but maybe by the following week, you've got enough to buy a few more. Or, which is the way he's pitching it, he wants people to spread the word to friends and family to give more people an opportunity to buy them. And one of the things that I love about it is the use case behind it is the funds, the funds that are being raised, they're being used to educate children, to make them financially literate and literate in terms of the crypto ecosystem. So I really, really love this project. So, and it's literally the first NFTs that I've ever bought. But having said that, the way that it's been working, because he's encouraging people brand new to NFTs, and in some cases, brand new to crypto, when they're trying to buy their NFTs, and trust me, they are being very helpful. There's a Discord group as well as the Clubhouse thing, and there's a massive window in which you can follow the procedure in how to buy the NFT. But because some people are so brand new, the process is still very confusing for them. And what's been happening is you tend to find that people are making basic mistakes, and you can't blame them, brand new to crypto. And those mistakes are resulting in either the least painful, they miss out on the opportunity because they don't quite get the instructions, or in the worst scenario, you're finding that scammers are exploiting their lack of knowledge and they're getting scammed. So, it's been a real concern. So he's changed the process to make it more difficult for scammers, but that's partly what's influenced me to try and give a bit of guidance in terms of some of the basics to bear in mind when, not just in terms of NFTs, but in crypto in general. There's certain basic things that you need to do to protect yourself. And that's kind of, let me just see if anyone's, there's someone trying to get into the room. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of behind the reason why I'm hosting this today. Like I said, I'm not going to do my normal Q&A, but I will give a couple of people, give you a chance to ask a couple of questions if you want. So maybe I'll give you about a few minutes just to ask any questions if anything comes to mind. And you feel free to use the mic or the chat. If not, I'll just go ahead. Okay.
Sorry. My question is probably around because I tried to get NFTs, buy my NFT last Monday just gone. Yeah. But something has gone awry. I just want to know if there's a step-by-step checklist I can go through to actually track to see where my NFT may have ended up, or if the funds have gone awry.
Did you reach out to the rundown? Because I think I was suggesting that.
I did, but they're telling me to click this, click that, but I don't know where this and that is for me to go click on it. So right. There's nothing for me to follow, as it were.
What exactly did they say to you?
And they asked me to check my address.
Yeah.
They asked me to check the steps that I took.
Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Right.
But it doesn't tell me how to, once I've done those steps, it doesn't tell me, like for instance, with you and IT, if somebody says, oh, my PC is not working, you've got a checklist that you go through to determine where the problem lies.
Right. I think what they're trying to do, they want to be sure that they've got, this is just me guessing, they want to be sure that you've given them exactly the right information so that they can check it. Because what you've got, they're releasing 10,000 NFTs, and if they're going to go through their database, they're going to want to be sure that they have the exact right address, and then they can cross-reference it. So that may be why they're asking you to check that. Did they ask you to give the details of your address or?
No.
Yeah. I suspect that's what they're doing, that they want you to double check what information that you sent, and then they can cross-reference it. So after this meeting, because I don't want to go too deep into it in this meeting, but afterwards, maybe I can have a quick word with you. But I just want to go in a more general sense today.
Okay, no problem.
In terms of basic security. So
cool.
Anyway, right, what's I going to, let me just, okay, now I'm trying to get, okay, so on the most basic level, can you give me a 2 if you use two-factor authentication and a 4 if you don't? You know, when you're using exchanges, if you can all give me a sense of if you're using two-factor authentication. Right, okay. So that's kind of like going to the most basic level in my opinion. If you're trading on any exchanges and you haven't enabled two-factor authentication, you're making yourself very vulnerable. There's a possibility, if you're not using that, maybe you're verifying your transactions, say, for example, with a mobile phone number or something like that. Now, one thing you have to bear in mind is if you're using a mobile phone, you're vulnerable for 2 reasons. 1, because you might lose it. And 2, there is such a thing as cloning mobile phone devices. So people have the ability to clone a SIM, and then they could pretend to be you. So imagine your SIM card has been cloned. They've got your number. So when you're doing your verification on an exchange, that's going to go to their phone, and then you're stuffed. So it's very important not to rely on SMS verification, but to enable two-factor authentication. Now, for those of you who might not be aware of it, two-factor authentication, it uses an app. Let me see if I can bring it up on, I'm not sure how clearly you'll be able to see it there, but let me just bring it up anyway. So when you're using two-factor authentication, what happens is your phone will be referenced whenever you do a transaction, and it's probably not going to be clear, but you would get a 6-digit PIN that regenerates every 60 seconds. So it's virtually impossible for someone else to guess it. Now, although that's good, there is a vulnerability. See, whatever you do with security, there's always a vulnerability. So you should always try to think, okay, if this happens, then what? What's the worst case scenario? It's very important to think of that. So although two-factor authentication is good to have on your phone, what happens if you lose your phone? Because I once made that mistake in the early days. I did have two-factor authentication on my exchanges, but my phone broke, and then I wasn't able to log into any of my accounts. And it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to get all of them sorted out. So yes, enable two-factor authentication, but make sure you back up your two-factor authentication. So I'm going to ask another question. Those of you who have two-factor authentication, can you give me a 2 if you have backed it up and a 4 if you haven't? Okay, right, okay. So it looks like the majority have not backed up their two-factor authentication, which is that's the position I was in. So I can't overemphasize how important it is to back it up now, but what you will find is that once you've enabled two-factor authentication, there's no way to, because basically when you first set it up, there's like a backup code. I think it's about 20 characters long or something like that. You would only ever see it at the moment when you're creating it, but it's easy to overlook it if you're not that knowledgeable about that side of things. So if you think back to when you first created your, someone else trying to get into the room. So if you think back to the time when you first set up your two-factor authentication, you would have seen a QR code and you would have scanned it automatically. But below that would have been the code. And the only time that code will be visible is at the time of setting it up. So once you've set it up, you can't go backwards. So I would highly, I'd highly advise you, if you haven't done that already, go into whatever exchange or thing you're using two-factor authentication with, go into your security settings and turn it off with the purpose of turning it back on again. But this time, when you re-enable two-factor authentication, you make a note of that, the code that's below the QR code. And then that way, if your phone is ever stolen or damaged, you have a way of retrieving it. So, it's one of those things, it's so easy to ignore. It's, oh yeah, I'll do it next week. But trust me, it's very important. You never know when something's going to happen. Literally in the last week, I've spoken to 2 people who have had problems with the mobile phone. One of them, what did they do? They lost it somewhere. And because of that, they can't go into the exchanges to trade. And the other person, which is one of my sons, he left his phone on a bus yesterday. Fortunately, and because basically what I've done is I've ensured that both myself and all of my kids, we all have NFTs now. If he had set it up on his mobile, he'd be stuffed right now. What I mean by that is when you use MetaMask, I'll go into this more deeply in my previous video, but when you use MetaMask, you can either install it on your mobile phone or you can install it on your computer. So, if it had been on his mobile phone, he would have potentially been in a very delicate situation. So I always say to people, yes, you can download MetaMask to a mobile phone, but I would strongly advise it's better to do it on a PC because you have less vulnerabilities. Before I go into another point, does anyone want to ask a... yes, that's right. Someone said that you can have... you can. So if you've got 2 mobiles, so if you're paranoid like me, you've got 2 mobiles, you can actually have two-factor authentication on a phone, and you can have a backup copy on your second device. So you can do that as well as writing down your QR code. So yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. 1 second, so I'm trying to get in the room. Okay, yeah. Right, does anyone have any questions about two-factor authentications?
I wanted to ask about, hi, Albert, it's Creek. I wanted to ask you, this MetaMask, yeah? Is it possible to have it on your phone and have it on your laptop?
Yes and no.
Okay.
What I mean by that is it can't be active on two, to the best of my understanding, because I am relatively new, by the way. I've only had my NFTs for about 2 weeks. And until then, I didn't really pay much attention to my MetaMask. But my understanding is that if you put it on another device, it leaves the original device and it only functions on the new device.
Okay.
One of the people that bought some NFTs last week, she had it on her mobile. I advised her to do it on her PC. And when she, basically what happens is when you set it up on the PC, it asks, do you want to transfer your wallet to this device? So when it transfers, it sets you up with a different password, but you use your 12-word security key in order to transfer the device. But I don't think it works on 2 devices at once. I could be mistaken, but I think once you go into another device or another browser, it transfers to that different location.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's okay.
Very helpful. Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else got any questions? Okay, so what I'll do is, so that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of two-factor authentication. Now, in terms of MetaMask, right, I won't be able to give a perfect example because I've already done some of the changes, but I would see what I can do. So one of the most important things is whether you're purchasing NFTs or if you're doing any kind of coin swap on MetaMask, once you've done that activity, it's important to log out of your MetaMask to avoid making yourself vulnerable to the scammers, etc. So I'm going to show you that process. So for example, let's just say you're going through the process of purchasing an NFT. So let me just go into this. I'm just going to go back to the beginning stage. So what you would normally do, okay, I'm going to go back. Okay, so basically, you should always be in a state where you're not logged into your MetaMask. That's number one. So let's just say I'm about to buy an NFT. So I would log in. Okay, that's a good start. Okay, 1 second. Looking at the right one. 1 second. That. Just try that again. Okay, and let me just switch that around. Okay, right. So before you buy an NFT, normally you're also going to link with OpenSea. This bit I'm going to skim today because I spoke about it last week. So you would log into your MetaMask, and then in OpenSea. So if I go to OpenSea, like I said, this is like the eBay of NFTs. You would then, so imagine this is the first time I'm doing it. I would go to OpenSea.io. This is something also to be very vigilant about. Make sure you're going to the correct website of whatever it is that you're doing. So let's just say, so OpenSea is OpenSea.io. If you see OpenSea.com or something like that, then you're in a scam site. So bear that in mind. So once you're on OpenSea, if you look, you will see on the far right-hand corner, you have an icon that looks like a wallet. So you click on that wallet, and you see that you have the option of connecting different types of wallets to OpenSea. So there's a Coinbase wallet as well as MetaMask, etc. So you would then click on MetaMask, and okay, so you make sure that you're, okay, that's, let me just make sure that's the right one. Actually, no, let me start from scratch. Bear with me 1 second, because if it's doing that, it means it's not starting from scratch. So connected sites. Okay. Right. Okay, so this is going to let me start from scratch. So if I go to OpenSea, I select MetaMask. I make sure that I'm logged in. Right, okay, so ignore the one that you see at the bottom. That's the ledger. That's one of the things I want to show you guys a little bit later. But when you first set up your MetaMask, you're just going to have the single account. And by default, when you set up MetaMask, it's going to be called account 1. So if I'm going in for the first time, you would only see the one on the top, and then you click next, and then you get the message to link it with OpenSea. See, this is coming up because I'm using the Ledger one now, so ignore that one. So once you're connected to OpenSea, you will see that you have, see, like I said, it's a little bit messy because I've already transferred my NFTs. But normally, under normal circumstances, once you've got your NFT, if you look on the bottom here, you have something here called collected. Those are the NFTs that you've purchased already. So under normal circumstances, you would see a couple of NFTs that you've purchased. But the thing to be mindful of is that once you've purchased it, make sure you then disconnect from OpenSea, because that's what makes you vulnerable and makes you vulnerable to scammers. So as soon as you've clarified that this transaction has gone through and you see your NFTs in here, you go into OpenSea and you log out. Please ensure you do that. So you log out and then you go back to your MetaMask. Am I logged out? Okay, I've got too many windows open. Maybe that's why it's doing that. So you go back to your MetaMask and then you see where you've got connected sites. So you may be doing a whole bunch of different things in your MetaMask wallet. Try to get into the habit of disconnecting them when you're not doing whatever activity you're doing, because once you're connected, you're leaving a back door for the scammers. So you click on that to disconnect it, and that helps make you that little bit more secure. Now, even though you're disconnecting it, as you saw with me just now in OpenSea, it remembers it and you can go back to it. So don't think that when you disconnect it, you've lost your connection permanently. OpenSea will remember that you've connected with that wallet in the past. But even then, once you've done that, you need to click on the symbol up here and then you click lock, which forces you to have to log in each time you use your MetaMask. Does anyone have any questions about what I've said? I hope I wasn't speaking too fast. Is everyone okay with that? Or
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. If you're completely brand new to this, like I said, I have actually already done a YouTube video, which I took my time a bit more of that, which would hopefully help you a bit. But I just want to go through as many things as possible this evening. Okay, so now, but what I've done as an extra level is, and I just figured this out this morning, all this is good, but you're still, there's, I kind of say, when it comes to crypto, you have to protect yourself from scammers and from yourself. So you protect yourself from scammers in the sense that don't underestimate how shrewd they would be. And you need to protect yourself from yourself in the sense that don't underestimate the mistakes you might make when you're tired or in a rush. So one of the ways to protect yourself from yourself is to make a layer that makes it that little bit harder for you to use your MetaMask, so that it's that much harder for a scammer. So one thing that I was aware of, but took for granted until I got my NFT, is the fact that you can actually link a hardware wallet to your MetaMask. If you don't know what a hardware wallet is, can you just give me a 4? Okay, so it looks like everyone does. Oh, okay, right, okay, right, okay. So MetaMask is an example of a what you might call a warm wallet or a hot wallet, in the sense that it exists on your PC or on a mobile, and it's described as a hot wallet because it's permanently connected online, which is one of the reasons why I'm saying that it's good to log out when you're not using it. So it's more secure than a wallet on an exchange, in the sense that you've got control over it. For example, sometimes exchanges may crash or be hacked and you have no control over that. Whereas if you've got your wallet on your mobile phone or your PC, you've got some control over it, but there are still vulnerabilities. So what's seen as the most secure level of security is to have what's called a hardware wallet. And the two most popular brands are the ledger and the Trezor. So this is called the Trezor cold. It's Trezor cold wallet, and then this is the ledger. This smaller one is the one that's been around. I'm not sure how well you can see this. So this smaller one is the one that's been around the longest. And then this is a newer model, which lets you store more cryptocurrencies. So with this one, you can store maybe 2, 3, 4 at any one time. And this one, you can store 100 plus. Now, what makes it safe is the fact that, let's just say someone was to somehow hack your Ledger wallet. In order to do a transaction back and forth, they wouldn't be able to complete it, because to complete the transaction, this cold wallet has to be physically connected to your PC or Bluetooth with the newer version. So it has to be physically connected to your PC. And before the transaction is completed, you have to put in your 8-digit PIN. That's to unlock it. And then on top of that, you check the wallet address to confirm the transaction before it completes. So unless the person is literally physically with you, they cannot complete that transaction. So, so by doing that today, that gave me an extra peace of mind, because what's been happening is, like I said, people who have been getting NFTs and are inexperienced, scammers are finding ways to trick them out of them. And before I go on, because maybe I'm going on too fast, does anyone have any questions at this point? Sorry, no, the spelling is Trezor, so T-R-E-S-O-R. So that's Trezor. Let me see if I can bring up the website, if you bear with me. Yeah, that's the other thing. When you're buying these cold wallets, do not buy them from Amazon or eBay or anything like that. You must buy them directly from the site. And the reason for that is because people are aware that over time, people's cryptos can go up in value. What sometimes happens is that you can get an unscrupulous company. They will buy a batch from the manufacturer. They will tamper with it and create a backdoor, seal it up nicely so you'd never know it's been tampered with. And they will be able to keep an eye on your wallet. And when the time comes, whoosh, they've taken all of your funds. So make sure you always buy directly from Ledger or Trezor. Don't buy it from Amazon or any other location. Okay. Yeah. There's all kind of tricks. Well, it's I don't know if I mentioned it already. The reason why I say not to have your MetaMask connected is because if it's connected, and also if you reveal your address to the wrong person, although in itself it doesn't make you that vulnerable, but what some people do, they will send you what's called an airdrop, free crypto. And what's happening now is people are sending free NFTs. So if you look in your wallet, so let me just log back in again to give you an example. If you were to look in your wallet, and you see I've got activity here, various transactions. You might see a transaction and think, oh, I didn't know I had this particular coin. Let me try and find it for you. Where have I got an example? Yeah, assets, sorry. Right, so let's just say you're looking at the list of cryptos that you've got. I say, oh, I didn't know I had XRP. That's cool. And then you click on it, and there'll be written in the code, whether it's a coin or an NFT, what you're actually doing is you're opening a door, giving control to someone else, and then whoosh, all of your crypto is gone. So the best state is to be paranoid, and then you'll be okay. But like I said, let's just say you make that kind of mistake, but you've linked it with a Ledger, a cold storage wallet. They won't be able to complete that transaction because they don't have this, and they don't have the ability to put in the code and complete the transaction. So this is a really good extra layer of security. Any questions at this stage? Okay. Question. Yeah, I'm torn between the two. I mean, my very first one I got was the Trezor. Is nice and compact, but it looks like Ledger have been putting more time and money into improving the interface for this one. Actually, no, Trezor do have a newer one, but yeah, it's the people are hearing about this less and less, and more people seem to be going for the Ledger. So yeah, but yeah, I would lean more to the Ledger now. So which is why I've got two of them now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, let me try and find the website of Trezor just in case though. So give me a second. Where is it? Trezor? Yeah, same thing. Trezor.io. Yeah, so this is their site, Trezor.io. So make sure, if you're going to buy a Trezor, make sure you buy it directly from their site. And if you're going to buy the Ledger, same thing. I do have, one second. I do have an affiliate link, and I will not complain if you use my link. So yeah, but yeah, so that goes direct to their site. But yeah, buy directly from the manufacturer. Don't buy it from Amazon or anything like that. Okay, so right, so as I was saying, if you're not doing anything, always disconnect from it. Oh, let me show you something as well. See, what I did today is anyone curious about linking a cold wallet to their MetaMask? If you just give me a 2 if you're curious about that as well. Cool. Right. So, like I said, 6 o'clock this morning, I didn't know how to do it. So what I did, I went directly to their site. So I'm going to send you all a few links. That's what I used to help me today, but I will give you a bit of an overview. So if I just send you these links, I used that. I used that. And I found, which one is it? Oh, I thought I kept the link up. Let me see if I can find it again. Give me 1 second. Which one was it? Give me a second. Let's see. Yeah, I seem to have lost the link. Anyway, right. But those two, these two links are what I used. But basically, there's a few steps that you go through. On your Ledger Nano, there's 2 things that you have to make sure you've done. You update the software. So you make sure the software is up to date. And there'll also be Ethereum software on there. You make sure that's up to date as well. If anyone wants a bit more help on that later, let me just give you my IG address, so then I can send you the link of the video I watched later, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. So 1 second. All right, so if you make a note of my IG account, that's Happy to Invest. So if you want to watch that specific video, then I'll find that link for you. So if you make a note of that there. But yeah, so basically what the steps were are you make sure that the firmware, i.e. the background software is up to date, and you make sure the Ethereum software on here is up to date. And once you've done that, you physically connect it to your PC by USB. And what I did is within MetaMask, you will see an option. So when you go into it, you see an option to connect a hardware wallet. So what they say, you have to make sure that all the software and the hardware wallet is up to date first. Once you've done that, you then go into your MetaMask account, connect to hardware wallet. You see you've got different brands. You've got the Trezor. In this instance, it was my ledger. So I clicked on that. I physically plugged my one in. I logged into it. And then that gave me the ability, obviously those two links that I sent you goes into a bit more detail. That gave me the ability to connect my ledger to my MetaMask wallet, which is why I now have this thing here. And what I did, now I can't show you the proper process because I've already done it now. So what I did, I then had the ability to transfer my NFTs to my hardware wallet, making them extra secure. So I'm going to try and kind of explain it to you, but like I said, I've already gone through the process. So if I go to my OpenSea now, and that's why I have those two instances now. So if I just untick that, and if I tick on my ledger, and I re-establish the connection, now you see now my two NFTs are in my hardware wallet. Now, one thing that might hurt your head slightly, that doesn't mean that my NFTs are on here. No, this is just a key giving me access to my NFTs, which are in the blockchain. They're not on here. This is just a gateway to my NFTs. So these now exist, or shall I say access to it. I have no means of accessing my NFTs unless I have my hardware wallet. Now you might say, okay, what if I lose this or it gets damaged? That's why, just as when you're setting up your MetaMask, when you set up your hardware wallet, you need to make sure, I've got a notebook somewhere, you need to make sure that you've written down the key phrases onto something physical. Never put it on your computer, never put it on your mobile. So you have it somewhere physical. I would say that there is also a more advanced version of that. I have a waterproof book, which I can write with invisible ink onto. I forgot what it's called now, but yeah, I can send you a link anyway. So that's an extra layer of security. And another layer of security is I've actually got two of these. One can live at home, one can live somewhere else. So it may sound like paranoia, but I think because I work in IT, I'm always thinking, yeah, but what if? So I'm always thinking of, my mindset is never have a single point of failure. That's the way I look at things. So anyway, so anyone got any questions at this stage, by the way, before I jump forward? Stonebook. Yeah, thanks for that, Grace. Yes, it's called a Stonebook. Yeah, so I had to import it from the States. So they're not cheap, but it's I was surprised because there's loads of pages. I thought it would just be a few pages. So so not just crypto, I can store my email passwords, you name it, there's loads. And it comes with, you can also buy an invisible ink pen. So yeah, that's my Stonebrook and pen. Thanks for the time check. Okay, I've got 7 minutes. Right, so I think I've covered most things. So anyway, so like I said, that's just an overview of how you do it. So let's just imagine my NFTs are still on my original MetaMask. What you would do is you would click on it, and you see here, you've got what looks like a gift box. Now, it won't work now because it's already on my ledger. But what you would do, and also because I have 0 Ethereum on my ledger, I think that's why I'm getting those funny messages. So you would click transfer. And if it had opened properly and there was Ethereum in that wallet, you would see a window appear in which you would paste your Ledger Ethereum wallet address, and then you just click transfer, and that transfers your NFT from your MetaMask wallet into your cold storage Ledger wallet. And that's basically what I did this morning to secure my NFTs. And that gives me a much greater sense of security that no one can somehow trick me out of my NFTs. Yeah, so it feels like a bit rushed because normally my meetings are a bit longer, but I hope you found that useful. Like I said, I do have my YouTube channel is also called Happy to Invest. So you will find the last video I did that goes into more detail in terms of the process of getting these particular NFTs. There is another opportunity to buy them next Monday, but judging by how he's been speaking in Discord and Clubhouse, I think it may be the last time they're cheap. So I think the price is going up. They've been, the popularity is growing, even though this project is only 3 weeks old. So yeah, if you want to know a bit more about the process for that, go to their website. You can refer to my video as well. And, all the help and guidance is there. It's just a case of don't leave it to the last minute. If you leave it until Monday, you're going to be stressed and you're going to make mistakes. You've got, Thursday now. Give yourself time to follow the guidance and then you'll be okay. Any questions before I close off? We've got 5 minutes. Feel free to use the mic if you want to. Right. The Discord group is when you go to their site. So it's lilhippo.io. I'll give you the link. Like I said, because you could say, that saying, imitation is the greatest compliment. What's been happening is that people have been setting up fake sites to scam people. So the real site is the one I've just sent you, lilhippo.io. And when you go to the site, when you scroll down, you will see where's the social media links? Yeah, so you've got there's a link to the Discord group here, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Here is the guide on the process that you need to go through to get yourself ready. It's changed a little bit since I did the video, because before they would ask you to send your Ethereum address to the Discord group. But like I said, these scammers were working hard. You literally had fake accounts being created while the moderators are deleting the fake accounts. That's how crazy it was last week. So yeah, so now you only do it to the site. So which is why now you have to be careful. Before, make sure you don't send to the fake account in Discord. Now is make sure you don't send it to the fake website. So as long as you use this link, you know that it's going to go to the right location, and it's fairly straightforward. You just give your email address, your Discord account username once you've created it, and your MetaMask wallet address, which will be when you go to your MetaMask, your wallet address is going to be, where have I gone? To be honest, if you've got it, I'm sure you know how to find it, but sometimes it's a bit slow. Let me cancel that. So your wallet address will be here. So you click on that square, and that would go into your clipboard. You can paste it into a text document, and then you would paste that wallet address into this form here. So that's how you would do that. Any more questions? So yeah, it's this is, like I said, it's such a helpful group. If you don't leave it to the last minute, follow their instructions, join their Discord and join their Clubhouse group. Yeah, you'll find that they're so helpful. So you'll be okay if you give yourself enough time. If you do decide to buy, whatever you do, don't leave it to less than 24 hours before you fund your wallet with Ethereum, because sometimes from certain sites, it's going to be a minimum of 24 hours before it clears. It's quick from Coinbase, but don't leave it to the last minute because you don't want to miss out because of time factors. Yeah. Oh, did I send? Yeah, I think I sent it. I'll send that again. Okay, so that's the Lil Hippo. This is the link to Ledger through my affiliate link. I hope that covers everything for you.
The links are not showing up in the chat.
Sorry, say that again?
Link is not showing up in the chat. Where are you posting it?
In the, it's not, yeah, it should be.
I've just realised, Albert. I think you're direct messaging me. I was in the kitchen on my phone because I'm logged in on my phone as well, and I've just come up to my room.
Sorry.
I can see all the links, and I was thinking, oh, that's where all the links are.
Sorry. Yeah, that's because I'm a consummate. What's the word? I'm a true professional. Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I better copy these. 1 minute. Let me copy these. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the two links. Right. Okay. So yeah. Right. So this is my shortest meeting in ages. I've kept it down to 1 hour. So I hope you all found it useful. Oh God, I hope I recorded this. Yeah. So yeah. There will be a recording of this one as well as last week's one. And as I mentioned, you can find me. That's my user ID on both YouTube and Instagram if you need to ask me any questions later. Okay. So yeah, I hope you found it useful. Yeah, it feels a bit rushed, but hopefully you learned something. And yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right then. Have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
My pleasure.
I'll see you on the other call.
Yeah. Take care. All right. Bye.